the Amazing Women Speak podcast, inspiring and motivating every Black woman to own, honor, and execute her amazing, individually and collectively, as it was established at birth.
Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Amazing Women Speak. And while you're getting settled in for the show, do me a favor, hit the share button and share Amazing Women Speak so your friends and followers can get in on this conversation. And I say it every week, and it's the truth. It's another great conversation coming. And so there are times when we want to do things, accomplish something, and we want it to happen, of course, when we want it to happen, right? But what do we think or feel when it doesn't happen when we want it to happen? Or getting to the finish line is just hard and you gain some bumps and bruises. It's easy to see those moments as setbacks. Or you start to have some self-doubt and talk yourself out of a thing when in reality, they were shaping you for what's ahead. So today, let's talk about and let's look at how the struggles, delays, and detours in life are often shaping us for something greater, and we don't even know it. Greater than something we could have ever imagined. And so the weight you've carried has built your strength, and the weight you endured has refined your purpose. So let's talk about it. The weight was preparation, not punishment. And you all know the drill. Before we can find out who our guests are, I have to say, welcome to Michele, and thank you for saying yes to Amazing Women Speak. Come on in, talk about it, do what you do.
Hello. Happy Sunday. Like Crystal said, another great conversation on deck tonight with an amazing guest. I say it every time I'm here, it is the fastest hour of your day. So we invite you from whatever platform you're joining us from to be a part of that conversation, to drop your questions in the chat. We'd love to pull them in. We'd love to hear your voices. We'd love to hear your take on tonight's topic. So please make yourself an active part of this conversation. But we cannot do that without an amazing guest. So without delay, we will bring her in, allow her to introduce herself, and get this amazing conversation started. Kyla, please come in and introduce yourself, Miss North America 2024.
Good evening. Thank both of you beautiful ladies for having me. Like you said, my name is Kyla L. Wright. I am Miss North America 2024. I'm a Detroit native. I'm a journalist. I'm a current doctoral student at Michigan State University in the Media and Information program. Process. Yes, go green, go white. So it's a process, but it's been a beautiful journey, just from being a pageant queen to being a journalist to now being among one of the top PhD programs in the country. And I think that this conversation will be very fruitful, and I am definitely a product and proof that your weight isn't punishment for your greater good that's coming.
So let's dive right in. We don't have a lot of time, so we don't spend a lot of time in shallow waters. We like to get to the heart of this conversation. And what struck me, right, like what was sitting with me prior to you coming on has shifted. Because as you were talking, you did something that oftentimes we don't pay attention to. And you are physically demonstrating what it is to have a crown on your head. And you did this shifting, right? Mm-hmm. Like as heavy is the head that wears the crown. And so we got to hear about your journey, right? Mm-hmm. Before we talk about the weight and the weight of it, we got to hear about the journey and how you landed to being Miss North America 2024.
Yes, of course. So first of all, yes, heavy is the head. And to answer the question that people usually ask, this crown is actually very heavy and trying to like balance it and like shift it, especially like with my natural hair is always really funny. So I'm always like moving it around to make sure that it's like straight and everything.
I love it.
But thank you. So, my journey started in pageantry when I was in the 8th grade. And I just heard that there was a pageant going on, and I was like, oh, that sounds cool. Like, I'll sign up. And I signed up and I participated and I won. And I was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting this. So I didn't do any other pageants until I went to college. I went to Hampton University for my undergraduate degree. And HBCU campuses, if you know anything about HBCUs, are really big on pageant culture. So there's a pageant for literally any and everything you could think of. Every organization has a pageant or has a reigning queen, a Miss organization, a Mr. organization. But a lot of orgs actually have pageants to crown their queens. So I participated in Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated's Miss Black and Gold pageant. So that was my sophomore year. I competed. I won second place. And I think at that point, as an adult and really being able to own and hone who I wanted to be as a pageant queen who was super community oriented, and that being what a lot of scholarship pageants, which it was, are geared toward, I got bit by the pageant bug, as we call it. So after that, I kept going. So my junior year, I competed for Miss Hampton University, and Miss Hampton University is usually a title that's awarded to a senior. And I felt like my junior year, I had enough of a voice to run for Miss Hampton. And there has only been one junior Miss Hampton in Hampton University's history. It stayed that way, but I still was proud of myself for stepping out on faith and doing that year. So I came in fourth place, and then I ran for Miss Hampton University again my senior year and came in third place. So I graduated, COVID hit, I moved back home to Michigan. And then I was scrolling on Instagram one late night and an ad popped up to say, you could be the next Miss Michigan USA. And I was like, I have done some pageants back in my day. So now you're speaking my language. So I clicked on the ad. I applied. I went through the process. I was accepted. So I went through. I was Miss Oakland County USA. Went to Miss Michigan, competed, didn't place, didn't win. I went the next year. I was Miss Southeastern Michigan USA. Went, didn't win, didn't place. I went the third year. So now at this point, we're at pageant number 6 in my pageant career. I was Miss Great Lakes USA, went, didn't win, didn't place. And I was like, well, what's going on? Because I know that I'm good enough to at least place. I'm not even placing. And I know I'm doing well in my interviews with the judges and on stage and my appearance and everything. So I'm not understanding what the issue is. So I took a step back. So in pageantry, we have different systems. So we have like Miss USA, you'll hear, Miss America, Miss World, Miss Universe, Miss North America. So there are a lot of different systems that all kind of have a little bit of different tenets to them that you can find the one that fits you. So I transitioned to Miss World America system. I won Miss Midwest World America. So I went on to the national pageant for Miss World America, which is the preliminary to Miss World. I went, didn't place, didn't win. And I'm like, this just can't be. So this is pageant number 7. Pageant number 8 comes Miss Michigan North America. So I switched systems again. I won Miss Michigan. So I went on, let me back up. I won Miss Michigan. I got into a serious car accident. I broke my arm. I forgot the number, but it was over 7 herniated discs up and down my neck and my back. I couldn't walk. I couldn't really do much of anything on my own. My hip was out of alignment. My knee was out of all types of things happened where I was like, I have a pageant to compete for in 7 months, and I just got into a car accident. How? So I did my darndest to push and physical therapy 3 days a week and just mentally rejuvenating myself, prayer, my parents, my family, etc. Went on to Miss North America in July 2024 in a better state. Like my arm had healed and everything, but I was still struggling kind of physically just because it takes a long time to re-heal the body. Anyway, a lot happened for me to get there. And I was completely not confident. I was like, I'm just here because I can't get my money back from my fees. So I'm just going to do the best that I can. And I went and I competed and I won the whole thing. So I tell that very long story over a course of 8 years or 8 different pageants and a little over 8 years to say that the wait was preparation, and it was not.
So let's talk about resilience, right?
Yes.
That's a lot of no's for a Black girl to receive, and her to first. I love your response was like, wait a minute. What do you mean I didn't win? But I love that confidence, right? And so what's in you that hearing that no motivated you to pursue the next opportunity? For most of us, that would be okay. I could take 1 or 2 losses,
Right.
right? But to receive several and feel like nope, I'm just going to keep going. That resilience. Tell us about that.
Honestly, I wish I had a beautiful, perfect, well-crafted answer for that, because I really don't know. Because every time so the way pageants go, I'm sure if you've like seen on TV or anything, you know, everyone competes for the first time, and then they call the semifinalists. So then the other people get off the stage, and then they call the finalists, and then they call the winner, and that's it. So every time when they're calling the semifinalists, I'm sitting there like, okay, call my name, call my name, call my name, call my name. And every single time, those 6 times in a row, my name wasn't called, and I'm like, no, I'm tripping, right? No. And I would go backstage and cry my eyes out every single time, like bawling. And it's like eyes bloodshot red, just like, I just try my best. I know I try my hardest, and I've put everything into this and all this preparation and money and this and that. And I'm not understanding what I'm doing wrong. So I really don't know, because every time I'll be like, I'm not about to keep putting myself through this pain and this heartache, and this is hard. And I know that I'm good enough, and I'm not understanding. And then applications will roll around for the next year, and I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to show y'all this year. Yep. So I think maybe it's just, I don't like the word, but honestly, this is the best way to put it. I'm a brat, and I don't like being told no. That's kind of a funny way to tell it, at least. I don't like the word no. So let me keep pushing until I hear something else. And even I've seen quotes that say no doesn't mean no, it means not yet. Like it's a shortened version of not yet. You just haven't read the full sentence yet. So honestly, it just wasn't my full sentence. And each time I learned something, I picked something new from each time, whether it be a connection with the person, whether it be a lesson learned, whether it be, okay, do this instead of do that. And I just took it and applied it to the next time, because even all of those no's propelling me, each time I had a no was when I had the most preparation. And when I ended up getting the yes was when I had the least preparation, which is the thing that continues to blow my mind. So
right, like as Crystal talked about in the promo, we're talking about weight as in time and weight as in heaviness. Which one was harder for you?
I think I would say the weight as in heaviness, because I felt the weight of the world, the weight of my family, my nieces, my community, my mentees, all on me and keep watching me, and mentors and my pastor and first lady and everyone like, this year will be the year. And then coming back and seeing that, but you know, next time, and I'm like, I need y'all to all see, like, and I think I took it the way that I ended up taking it and the way that I've processed it now are two different scenarios. So the way that I initially took it is like, they're disappointed. They're like, oh, well, why isn't she winning? And it was literally never that, because one day I had a sit down with my first lady, and she even told me, if you look around, I couldn't ever get on anyone's stage. I don't care if it was the state, the local, the national. I don't care what competition it was. The fact that you did that, I'm beyond proud of you. So I don't care if you never win the national one, because also there are 50 other girls competing against you, if more than that, sometimes depending on the year. And I'm like, okay. So then I felt kind of the weight and the pressure of, I think more so myself, and I was trying to put it on everyone else. And it really was just a me thing. And because I put so much pressure on myself on a daily, I had to take a step back outside of myself and just do me and just do the good that I want to do with or without the crown, and let it all fall into place after that. And that's what I did. And that's, I think, the most organic way that it ended up falling into place, even at a time where all of the weight of the world felt the heaviest on me from pageantry and beyond.
So the weight of time can cause folks to grow impatient. What did you do in your weight?
kept making myself better. It's important to, yeah, you can cry, you can be mad, you can be upset at the judges, you can be upset at yourself, but you don't use that as a deterrent. And that's the thing that I taught myself is, okay, you can sit here, you can sit in it for however long. Usually I wouldn't give myself longer than about a month to really like sit in it, kind of mope around. What could I do better? What could I do differently? And then move forward. Because at the end of the day, even if I were to ever win, every reign is only a year long. And that's what a lot of people don't realize about pageantry. Like I'll be a forever Miss North America, but I will only be Miss North America from July 2024 to July 2025. So you can't let that be your whole identity, because once that's gone, then what are you going to do? Are you just going to keep chasing more crowns? So how are you going to continue to make an impact and actually do something? So once that hit me, probably after the first or second time, like, well, you can still do what you've been doing with or without the crown. So I use that wait period in time to just still continue to work on my nonprofit organization, to talk to schools, to volunteer in the Metro Detroit area, to volunteer whenever I travel out of state, and continue to let that just be me, because that is genuinely who I am. And whether I did it and I walked into a school and talked to kids with a sash and a crown or without a sash and a crown, I'm still going to give them the same spiel. I'm still going to tell them, you're all beautiful. You're all kings and queens. You are capable of whatever you want to do. Put your mind to it. You can do it. Don't let no be no. Let it be you're not yet. And that's it. And that's just coming from Kyla, because I'm Kyla with the sash and without the sash, with the crown, without the crown. So that was my weight.
So I want to go back to the weight, the WEIGHT for a minute. Because oftentimes, especially Black women, we already carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. And I think we also put a lot of pressure on ourselves.
Yes.
How did you get past, because you even said you were trying to push the disappointment and all of that off on other people. But how did you get past the extra pressure that you were putting on yourself and redirecting that into something that helped propel you to that next level, to then say, I'm going to do this again and again and again?
Yeah. I think you said it perfectly, redirection, because I used all the energy that I was taking in being sad and trying to figure out what was wrong with me, which is nothing. And even one of my passion coaches would tell me, different day, different set of judges, different queen. Because if today I got on the stage, I might not win. And tomorrow I can get on the stage and it could be a different set of judges and they say, she's the one we need. And the next day it could be a different set of judges and they'll say, she's terrible. It's all about perception and opinion, and it's about what they see and what they perceive in you. So you literally just have to redirect that energy, because it's nothing about you. You're not the issue. You're not a issue. But what it is what you see when you look at yourself in the mirror. And so I know that I have to feel confident in who I see and who I believe that I am, and continue to let that show. So I allowed that to sink in and really believe it, and I just say it because it sounded good. And once it really sinked in, it's like, okay, this hurt. You're going to have a lot more hurts in life too. So what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do to pick ourselves up? What are we going to do to grow through what we go through and move forward? So because you're hurting yourself more and you're not benefiting anyone if you're just sitting there like, well, I lost. I'm a loser. Well, at the end of the day, there's going to be one winner anyway. So first of all, go into it with that mindset. Of course, we all want to go in super confident. I'm going to win this time. This is my time. This is the time for me. But you also have to be realistic. Like if you really break it down by the numbers, the chances are super slim in each competition, in anything in life, in a job interview, in a pageant, in anything. There are very slim chances that you are going to be the one to win. You might stand out, you might not. It's not on you. Of course, maybe we might have a slip up, we might mess up, but everything is not on you, to the fact where you take onus so much and so hard that you let that be a defining characteristic of yourself. Because I could have a long time ago and said, I'm a loser. I did one pageant and I didn't win. So, I don't know what to do next. So I just don't want that to be my personality.
Right, which is difficult because the messages that Black girls get as we are striving to be Black women, right, are the opposite of the ways in which you were able to show up constantly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even unintentional from those that we love, right? Like, yeah, no, maybe you shouldn't do that. You know, you've lost twice. Maybe you ought to move on and try other things, right? Like, so the story that you have to tell yourself to change the narrative, even from folks who love us and mean us well, not thinking necessarily about the impact of their words. They believe that they're protecting you. So to continue to tell yourself a different story over and over again, the messages that someone was giving you, right? Put inside of Kyla, like, this is what we do. We identify the things, create the strategies, we go get it. Whether we win or lose, we go back, we realign, reassess, and we go back. How did you know? How did you know that that was the narrative that was sinking and seeping in you that would one day seep out? Like, I think about so many girls who have attempted a thing, wanted a thing, tried a thing, and failed at the thing. I was like, yep, not doing that again. Even if somebody was saying, nope, you can do it, because of the stories.
A lot of internal self-work. I'm a big advocate about mental health, and I go to therapy. I have a Black woman therapist, and she is phenomenal. And, you know, we would have our conversations, whatever that week was before the pageant. And I'm like, all right, this week is the week. I'm nervous. Yeah, I'm anxious about it, this and that. And she's like, okay. And she would tell me all the time, starting with the first time I did Miss Michigan, which was 2021, to do the Mary Jane from Being Mary Jane and have the sticky notes all around my hotel room with different quotes on them, motivational notes, telling myself, you can do this. You're your only competition, all of that, like those small things. And I would literally, it would be one, like on the mirror when I'm brushing my teeth. It would be one in the mirror when I'm doing my hair. It'd be two in the mirror when I'm about to walk into the bathroom. It'd be more around where I literally had no choice but to look at it and feel it and understand it before and then after, because then I would go back to my hotel room after the loss and I would still see you're your only competition. And I'm like, am I? Well, yeah, I am, because the version of me that wrote this before I went out on that stage is still the same version of me right now. Did she learn something differently? What did she take away from this? But that is true, Michele, because my mom is my biggest cheerleader. Like a lot of girls, your mom is you would hope that your mom is your biggest advocate. She is your support system. She is there for you through thick and through thin. And my mom would go to every single pageant. And I know for a fact, I would just see the hurt in her because she knew that I was hurting. So she was hurting. She's like, I don't want you doing this. You keep hurting yourself. And I'm, of course, no matter what, I'm going to be here to come and hold you and pick you up when you fall and, you know, wipe your tears away, but I don't want to keep seeing them hurt you. And I know that you're good enough. I know that you can beat out everybody on that stage. I think that you were the best walker on there. You were the best talker. I know you had the best interview because you my baby. You know, like that's how your mom is supposed to do. So it also was that weight of, like you said, she probably didn't think anything of it when she was saying like, you shouldn't even just let them keep hurting your feelings like that. Because that is true, and she doesn't want to see me hurt, and she doesn't want to hurt because it's hurting her to hurt to see me hurting. Right. I'm like, I know. And even one time it was funny. I got off the stage, I had lost, and this was the year I was super, super, super confident. And she was like, yeah, we done with this. And I was like, nope, next year. So next year, she was like, you have tears in your eyes as you're talking. You're still hurting right now about what happened an hour ago. And you're talking about next year? What? And I'm like, yeah. So next year, I'm thinking the dress that I want to wear, I could see like rhinestones, and I want it to be more sparkly. And why are you crying about this year and talking about next year? Like, yeah, you're different. You're different, Michele. Yes. So even it's moments like that where I understand how everyone feels. I know how I feel, but I'm going to keep pushing. I'm not going to give up until I get what I feel like I deserve. And also to be an example, because it's not just about me. I keep saying, oh, I felt like I should have. I felt like I. Because, I mean, yes, it is about I, but also because I have so many mentees and so many community members who just see me on a daily, I don't want to be the example of you did a thing, it was hard, so you stopped. Because I did a lot of hard things and stopped and said, okay, but would you rather the lesson be I did something hard and I was among the X number of people that did it, but I didn't finish. And it's important to me about getting to that finish line no matter what. So I think even if I didn't win Miss North America this year, it still would have been another and another and another, because I just want to show that lesson. Because that's one thing as well. When I talk to members of the community, when I talk to schools, when I talk to young girls, I tell them, I did not get this on the first try. I didn't get it on the second try, or the third try, or the fourth try, or the fifth. And they're sitting there like, wait, she's still, what try did you get it on? And I'm like, I got it on the 8th try. And they're like, wow, oh my gosh. And so it's like, so don't give up. If you really want something, keep pushing toward it, and it will pay off and yield itself to be fruitful in the end.
How important, you talked about going back to your hotel room after the loss.
Mm-hmm.
And you talked about the sticky notes on the wall before, but how important is the self-talk after the loss?
As important as it is before the loss, when you don't think you're going to lose. Because if not more important, because you feel so, you've put your blood, sweat, and tears, you've put your heart into it, you've put everything you could on the line to get nothing in return. So, and especially in my situation, to not even be a semifinalist. So, and it wasn't, because there have been girls who have amazing stories who are like, yeah, my first year I competed, I came in 4th place. And then my next year I competed, I was in 3rd. And then I was in 2nd. And then I was in 1st. And, or I was in 2nd. And then I was in 2nd. And then I was in 3rd. And then I was in 2nd. And I kept getting so close where I would taste it. And I'm like, I didn't taste it. I wasn't even close. I was, every time I'm like, they're going to call my name. Okay. 16 finalists, they're on number 15. Yep, mine's going to be the last one they call. And then they call the name that's not mine. And I'm like, oh, this is where the journey ends? It's over now? Okay. And then that's when you literally, in that moment, when you are like, okay, and you have to walk off the stage still smiling, because you can't break down crying. And well, you can, but I've seen it done. I never walked out, kind of waited until I got fully off the stage and downstairs into the dressing room to decompress. But that moment is when it clicks. When it clicks to you, this is over for now. Now what's next? How you feel about yourself is what's next. So whatever you think, because you could, okay, I'm a loser. I lost. And that's it. Or you can say, I lost, which was statistically bound to happen.
Right.
Like I'm competing against, like Miss Michigan from year to year was anywhere between 50 and 70 girls. And there's only one winner. So it's like, yeah, based on probability,
right.
Even if you placed and you were still competing against 15 other girls in the top 16, and then you had to go from the semifinals to the finals, which is the top 6, I could have been number 6 and you still didn't win. So does that hurt more? I don't know, because I never have been in that predicament on the statewide level. I was in that predicament in college and those pageants, but college pageants are a little different once you start to get to the big leagues, and that feeling and it kind of hitting you. That's when you have to start, okay. But they didn't take anything away from me, but my resume still stands, but my education that they can't take away from me, but my community service, but my volunteerism, but the mentors that I have behind me, the mentees that I have behind me, all of that is still there. So you can take this moment, you can be sad about it, because it's okay to be sad, because we want us to come home with a win. but we're going to take this time. Now, usually in a regular predicament, I always tell myself, okay, you got 24 hours. Now, pageants, I give myself a little longer because it's a long preparation and everything. So you can't really get it all out in one day. But, a week, a couple weeks, a month, okay. And then it's time to start to get back to you, whatever that looks like. So still those sticky notes, those motivational, because all around my house, I have signs and posters and everything that also kind of replicate that sticky note scenario where I keep pouring into myself and reminding myself, like even I see behind you, Crystal, something about being fearless, like always reminding myself of who I am, whose I am. I'm still a queen. I'm amazing. I'm beautiful. I'm intelligent, and no one can take any of that away from me. So it's still that positive self-talk, even after the loss.
So I have a question in the chat, right? Like, how important is self-talk and self-encouragement after multiple?
Mm-hmm.
Like one time, like you can say it, right? Like I tried, didn't go well, I'm going to do it next time. But after you've had multiple, does that amplify the importance of that self-talk?
100%. Because after the first loss, I honestly think the losses don't get better, but because the feeling, like the first one is kind of like that gut wrenching, like that punch. And then the next time it hurts, and the next time it hurts, and it keeps hurting. But the process of even 365 days ago, the last time when I lost, and now I'm here back on this stage, smiling and hoping for the win again. What did I do in those 364 days to recover and get back to who I am now, to confidently walk back on this stage? Because one thing I would never do is waste my time, the judges' time, my family, my friends' time, and the preparation and in sitting and watching me and rooting for me, if I wasn't in a place where I would confidently think that I could walk on the stage and potentially walk away with the win. If I was not 100% me, right, I wouldn't do it, because that is a failure. Because what are you doing it for at that point if you aren't even being true to yourself and you don't even feel it within? So that positive self-talk is something that you have to keep enacting, and something like I said, therapy. I go to therapy once a week. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm very proud of it. I love therapy. Absolutely. I love my therapists down. So, and tools like therapy, you don't only use them when you're down. You use them when you're up. You use them when you're down. You don't only go, to church when you need a prayer. You go to church every Sunday if you go to church, because you go there for the camaraderie. You go there for the worship. You go there for the experience. So, same in like a parallel sense to therapy. You go to therapy just to talk to yourself, to talk to someone who understands you, to talk to someone professionally who understands you, to keep pouring into you and rejuvenating and giving you those tools that you need in the moment when you're not in a up, you're in a down. Because they say therapy is not only for crisis. If it happens that way and you're in a crisis mode and you need to go to therapy, then, that's what unfortunately life threw at you at that moment. But it is the hope of most therapists that you have the tools when you're not in crisis to better manage and navigate when you are in crisis. Now, to some people, losing a pageant is not crisis, but just anything that is, coming at your confidence and making you not be your full self or not be 100. So whatever that looks like. And to me, sometimes it's losing a pageant, or it's not getting that job that I really, really, really wanted, and I knew that I was qualified and I really hoped for, or whatever the case is. Because at the end of the day, I'm Miss North America, but I'm still going to have failures in my life. There are still going to be no's that I'm going to get, and I still have to know how to properly process them in a healthy way and still be able to move forward and wake up the next day and put one foot in front of the other and keep going and figure out what my next thing is going to be.
Right, like the process alone requires weight, right? Like to only be able to pursue this thing once a year doesn't teach you patience, like is incredible, right? Like anything that I'm trying, I'm constantly pursuing it. Mm-hmm. That actively wait 1 year in order to be able to discover if what you did the last 364 days readied you enough for that moment. So you get on that stage 2024 and you are crowned Miss North America. What did you learn about yourself, right? Like you've had a lot of practice of what do I do in a loss? What have you learned since July? Was it July you said?
July.
July. What have you learned about you and the power of that weight of the last 364? What have you learned about yourself?
That it's not about when you think you're the most confident, because what you think and what's already inherently inside of you are two different things most of the time, especially for us as Black women. Because sometimes I get up and I'm ready and I'm happy and I'm confident. And like I said, I was in a tragic, life-altering car accident 7 months before this pageant. And I had already won the state title, so I couldn't give it. I mean, I could have given it back, but I wasn't. And so it's like,
right. I do.
That's not what I'm doing. Am I going to get it back after I decide that I'm okay? No, it was too many factors that I didn't want to think about. But so I had to think about, who are you and what do you know that's already inside of you that you can use to potentially propel you? Because the one parallel, actually it wasn't a parallel, it was a polar opposite of the 2024 pageant that I competed in. And every other pageant I did, I had months and months and months of preparation with walking coaches, with interview coaches, with talent, if it was a talent portion, with doing my speeches, with mock interviews. And all of that takes money. So it's money going into that. I was on disability. I didn't have I had a job, but I was on disability. So I did not have a full paycheck coming in where I had the financial means like I did previously to pay for coaches. So I had not a single coaching session, not a walking session. I couldn't even really start walking. My first time putting on heels since my car accident was when I got to Orlando, Florida.
Oh, wow.
And I was scared because I'm like, I don't want to risk trying to walk in heels when I'm at home and then I hurt myself before I even get to the pageant. So I literally was like putting on the heels, strapping them up, like praying. Like I was literally like putting this, and I'm like, all right, I don't really know how this is going to go. I don't know if this is going to hurt. I don't know how this is going to feel. And I just really had to pray about it. And it was a wing and a prayer and seeing how it was going to go. And because I didn't have all the preparation that usually made me feel super confident and like, okay, remember your coach said this and the other coach said that. And she said to do this when you're walking in. Oh, she said to remember this in your interview. I had to rely on everything else that I have been trained and learned and everything else that I have poured into myself, that my family, my friends have poured into me. And that was my coaching in my head. And that was the hardest thing for me, because trying to wait in that and the anxiety of, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to successfully walk in heels on stage. Better yet, sit in an interview and try to measure up to the competition and win. So it was in me. That is the one thing I would tell everybody.
That is clear.
It's usually that thing that you don't even think on, that thing that you sleep on. That's the thing that will be the deterrent between you actually actively winning or getting that thing or getting there and you not, because you didn't even know it was there the entire time. But it was like, oh girl, I've been here. I've just been waiting. I was your secret weapon.
So I'm a firm believer in that nothing happens until the exact moment it's supposed to happen, right? Mm-hmm. But when I hear your story, and then when you talked about going to talk to those young Black girls, right? Mm-hmm. We live in this microwave society. We want what we want when we want it now. Yes. And then we have social media and all of that stuff that makes it appear as if someone tried a thing and they got it on that first thing. And that's how life is supposed to be. And then it doesn't happen to the young folk and they fall apart. They don't understand. And it's totally crazy. Mm-hmm. So I always believe that you walk a journey because that journey is also helping to create your story that's going to impact somebody else. Mm-hmm. I think you would have had a different impact on those young girls had you won the first time. Mm-hmm. Because they would have believed, right? Oh, I'm going to do this thing that I'm going to do and I'm going to get it the first time. But then to keep going and saying, nope, the first time, the second time, they're going to remember that when they get older. Oh, that meant, Miss Kyla came to, class and the pageants 8 times before she won. So I've only done this thing, tried out for the basketball team, the cheerleading team, whatever, twice. They're going to remember that and they're going to say, yeah, I'm going to keep trying until I get it. And then the other thing that I heard was, you didn't have the money to prepare because you were on disability. You didn't put the shoes on, but all of the stuff that you had learned those 7 times before was already in you. You didn't even need the coaching that last time. You already had it in you.
It was really like riding a bike. That's how I would describe it. I got on the bike and it was like muscle memory.
Yeah. You already had the crown the first time. It just wasn't awarded to you.
Right.
Until the 8th time. Yeah.
So what's next?
That's a great question. I'm not sure yet. I have 6 months. No, not quite 6. Like 5 months left in my reign. So still just in the community, philanthropy. I'll be launching my nonprofit officially in April. So I'm really excited about that. I already have my 501c3 status and all that good stuff, but the official launch and everything will be in April, which is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And that's what my nonprofit is based on, is assisting survivors. And so I'm really excited about that. That is my baby. That has been my, since 2016, that has been my platform in pageantry. And so a lot of pageants, you have to have like a community service-based initiative or a topic that you kind of mainly focus and hone in on. And then there are all the other things that you just do. So since 2016, when I did Miss Black and Gold at Hampton University, that's been my platform. And I've stuck with it each pageant except for one. One time I wasn't confident in myself. And I think that's the time I didn't win on purpose, because I should have won that pageant. But because I went back on my own word to myself, that was a lesson learned there. So even small things like that, it's like, yeah, you weren't fully authentic. So let's try again next time and see what you do when you're supposed to do what you're called to do, and not trying to minimize yourself to make other people comfortable. So that's also another lesson. That's a big lesson, is as Black women minimizing ourselves, but instead of taking up the space that we deserve to take up, because we deserve to be there, fighting against imposter syndrome. So yeah, but I say all that to say the next is a mystery to us all as a whole. And I'm just taking life by the horns day by day and allowing it to guide and to lead me. But I know what my purpose is, and I know that I'll continue to follow that and allow it to lead me and allow me to continue to touch many people's spirits and hearts and minds and souls, no matter what that looks like. If it's through my nonprofit, if it's just through philanthropy, if it's through mentorship. But that really is what I love to do. And even through my potential, my current proposed dissertation topic is still in the same realm of bringing together Black people and breaking stigmas and allowing us to feel every space we're supposed to and being authentically and genuinely who we are. So all of that is still, everything is under the same umbrella. It's all the same theme. It just depends on what I'm doing in that moment, whether I have the nonprofit hat on, whether I have the Michigan State hat on, whether I have the Miss North America crown on, but it's all the same because it's still Kyla, and I make sure of that because I don't want it all to be so off-putting or so far-fetched where it's like, well, what do you do? Because today it was red and tomorrow it's green and the next day it's going to be purple, and those colors don't match and it doesn't make sense. So what are we doing here?
And to the world, it doesn't have to make sense.
And it doesn't have to.
Like, please bring your beautiful purple, your red, your gray, whatever that thing is, please bring it and take up space. So you have defended your dissertation. You are published. The nonprofit is off the ground. And you go to your first high school speaking engagement after those accomplishments. What do you tell the girls?
Everybody has to start somewhere. I'm just another Black woman from the west side of Detroit, and I did not get here yesterday. It did not come easy. It was not instant, and it's not going to be easy or instant for you because you have 1,000,001 barriers against you, statistics like up against you, people speaking down on you, down on your name, whether they know you or not. But it is something that is genetically within us as Black women that will not allow us to be anything but great. So if I can do it and I'm standing in front of y'all as a living witness, you can too.
I love that. I love that, right? There is, if you can learn and practice the patient, there's a beauty in the wait.
Mm-hmm.
That because we live in this microwave society, because social media has taught us that instant gratification is a thing that's really not a thing. What you discover in the wait about your ability to overcome, about your ability to win, about your ability to recognize that all of the things that you thought you had to go get from somebody else was already in you is a gift in and of itself. And it's often a gift that many of us don't get to unwrap because we refuse to hold the WEI and stand for the WAI. Thank you for sharing your story. Very, very powerful to think about one Black girl who took as many no's as the world wanted to throw at her, kept getting up, kept saying yes, and realized, right, that delay is not denied, and that you sit before us today as Miss North America 2024, the future Dr. Kyla Wright. So very, very grateful to have heard your story with such resilience and joy, without hesitation, right? Like you are clear on who you are and the gifts that you bring to the world, and the fact that you found your voice at a very early age, and share that intentionally, right? Like it is your purpose to go back into schools and share that with others. We're grateful. Some little girl sitting somewhere, right, that heard that story, when she leaned in like, well, how many times did it take you?
Yeah.
Right? She's somewhere writing her own story. And we don't have to change the world. We have the ability to change one, and they change one. And we look up in what we believe about Black women and our ability to get the thing done. The narrative gets changed, and it starts with women like you. So thank you for sharing your story and your gift with us. And I can't wait when you get published to be able to read. Listen, we're claiming all of it. You've come too far now. Come too far now. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Such a tell us how people can get in touch with you.
Oh, yes. So you can get in touch with me on social media. My personal social media is my first name, last name, Kyla Wright, Media, MEDIA, and at official Miss North America. And you can also, if you want to reach out to me for any speaking engagements, community service, partnerships, anything of the sort, you can email me. It is Kyla at NorthAmericaBeautyPageant.com.
So let's find a way to add one more thing to your resume, right? Like you really should be doing coaching. You really should. It's one more thing you ought to look into getting certified, because your story alone, like having Black women, little Black girls understand resilience in that kind of way on that stage, right? Like on a very large stage, to be able to get up there and embrace your Blackness and expect the world to see it and crown you for it is absolutely incredible, and would love to see other girls coached in how you think about your philosophy on life and your philosophy on winning for yourself first. Yeah, you need to figure out how to add one more thing.
Thank you. As a gift. You know, we love muscle streams. We love adding more hats on. And I will say just quickly, because that point that you made about being a Black woman and about little Black girls seeing you, I will add that my first 5 pageants, I was confident-ish, but not fully, because, and one of the main things, and this is a part of my dissertation research, the way I wore my hair.
Yes.
And I would wear weaves, wigs, extensions, whatever, those first 5. And I was like, I mean, I kind of like it, but it's not really me. Every day, like how you see me right now, I usually have braids in my hair or I wear my natural hair and curls. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I had a coach, a Black woman, and I always will forever credit her, Ivy, for this. We were in all of our coaching sessions. So we went through wardrobe and makeup and hair and everything. And she's like, so how you wearing your hair? I'm like, okay, I'll probably get a sew in. And she's like, why? And I'm like, what do you mean why? It's a pageant. You get a sew in. Is that a question? She was like, okay, we've been coaching together for X number of months now. And she's in Indiana, I'm in Michigan. And so we would be on Zoom. And she would be like, but every time you're on here, you've only had natural curly hair. So that's how you show up every day. And I'm like, yeah, but pageants are different. And she's like, they're not. Because your pageant appearance, your presence on that stage is who you are. So if you, yes, you feel good every now and then if you straighten your hair, like, okay, this is cute, but this is temporary because this is not my everyday look. And it's not something that I could do for a whole year. 100% no. So once that clicked, I was like, when she said that, I was like, that sounds nice. Now, but no.
Right.
Yeah, no, actually, no. But in retro, no, actually, nope. I really like sat on it and sat in it. And I was like, all right, I'm going to wear my natural hair on stage. And I had just big chopped. So that was a double like confidence. Yeah. But I did. And when I tell you that was the most confidence I ever was on a stage in all of my years. And that year I lost. Again, I did it a second time. I lost. Third time was this year with everything else going on. My natural crown, and then I got the crown. And again, I was so confident. And I tell also, because that's something that I hear whispers of, and sometimes they'll say it, but usually it's like whispers in classrooms when I go to schools, like, oh my God, her hair looks like, man, look at her hair. Oh my God. Or they'll sometimes say, like, I love your hair. Your hair is so pretty. Look at my hair. Look at your hair. They look the same. Right. And I'm like, yeah, they do. And I love your hair too. And your hair is beautiful, just like my hair is beautiful. So that's also something that to the outside world may not be a big deal, but to us as Black women, and as we know how important hair is and the way that hair is attributed to our sense of self, is something I will forever, ever say is one of the proudest things I've done, not only for me, but for everyone looking at me, is seeing that. Because it would be really weird to see all my passion pictures with me in straight hair, and then you see me coming into your school or talking to you at this conference with natural hair. Like, it's like, oh, the image, they don't really line up. They're not the same. And so I wanted that image to be authentic. And
assimilation is real, right? Like assimilation is real. Did you question when you lost?
Yes.
Your hair had anything to do with it?
Absolutely. Especially because it wasn't even like my natural hair that before my big chop, that was like a big fro. Like I just big chopped. So it was a short curly fro. So I'm like, oh, maybe short and curl. Maybe that was too much.
That was too drastic. Well, one of the things that you said though was that was the first time that you felt that confident.
Mm-hmm.
And that just goes to show being truly authentic to who you are wins every time.
Yep. So even though I did question it, I will say, even though I questioned it, I doubled back on. But you remember how you felt on that stage last year compared to this year? Right. Exactly. Now sit in that. And that was my reality check to me.
I love it.
She said, now sit into that. Yeah. Great conversation. Great stories. I think young Black women, young Black girls, old Black women, all need to hear your story, because what you're saying is what we constantly need to hear in a world that constantly beats us up, right? Understanding that importance that you have to have in yourself, and the confidence that you have to have in order to do this thing called life.
Yes.
Whew. Yeah. So thank you for sharing your story. It's been, it's absolutely been amazing.
Thank you for having me.
What do you do for self-care? Because this is a lot. Preparing for pageants and doing, and then How does self-care play into that and into building your confidence to keep getting up on that stage?
So, like I said, again, strong advocate, obviously, for therapy. So, in going to therapy, and also because I'm a writer, journaling comes to me naturally. So, just when I'm happy, I journal. When I'm mad, I journal. When I don't have nothing to say, I journal, or I sit there with it blank until I figure out some words to put down on the paper. Because I'm like, there is something here that I need to get out. Because sometimes it's not always a phone call. It's not always talking to somebody. It's just in understanding and recognizing your own feelings. So journaling is super important to me. I'm really big on getting my nails done. That's a part of my self-care. And just allowing myself to, I've very intentionally curated a space of Black women of my friend group for myself. And it's been hard to let go of some people or people who you realize were frenemies and not necessarily wishing you the best. But I have, my friend group is something I feel like is so unmatched because they are the core to my support system, to my, if I call you at 4:00 in the morning, cry my eyes out, and I don't know why I'm crying, but I just need to cry, and I don't need you to say a word, and I can't say any words right now. I know that I can call anyone in that core group and they will be like, okay, I'm gonna sit here. Just let me know when you're done. Let me know if you need me to say anything, which is really heavy in my self-care. So I love planning things. So about every month or two, I'll have a girls' night just so I can bring everyone together. Everyone, I know we've had a long week, couple weeks, long month. So let's get together for Valentine's Day, for Friendsgiving, for Friendsmas. So that's also a part of my, I love my girl group for my self-care.
That's a perfect lead in. It's a perfect lead in to talk about what the Amazing Woman Network started. This will be actually week 3. So just as you mentioned, on the show, we often talk about journaling as a tool and how powerful it is. So falling in line with what the Amazing Woman Network and Amazing Women Speak were created to do, which was to empower and unite Black women globally, we kicked off this journaling campaign, right? And it's called Amazing Reflections for Her. And HER is an acronym for Heal, Empower, and Rise. And so each Monday we share, we post a thought-provoking journaling prompt on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok to help you release past wounds and embrace healing, step into your confidence and power, and build a legacy of success, wealth, and impact. And so you can tap in and join in on this journaling campaign every Monday at 12. And last Monday's prompt was, how do you want to be loved? And are you showing up for yourself in that way? And someone posted in a comment that the first thing that they thought of was out loud. They want to be loved out loud. And I appreciate the fact that you are loving yourself out loud. Like you really are. That's what it looks like. And so you are a real life example of that. You have an incredible story. I cannot wait to hear more and to see what else this world has in store for you, because I know for certain that no will never stop you. Okay? Never ever stop you. Thank you so much. I am Crystal Gunn. I am a Black woman and I own my amazing. Michele.
Thank you again, Kyla. It has been a true pleasure sharing this space with you, hearing about your story, and being inspired about the power of the WEIGHT and the WAIT and how you build your muscle to carry the weight during the wait. So thank you very much. You really have inspired. And for our listeners, you will listen to this one, I promise, again and again. In those moments when you're trying to figure it out, pick up this episode. It really will be a blessing to your life. Yes, Queen of Smile, you are a Black woman and love everything about you and your amazing smile. Thank you for hanging out with us in this particular conversation. Crystal, as always, thank you for the obedience that God put on your life to create such a platform where we get to hear such amazing story from amazing Black women. It is a gift that is undeniably changing lives. So thank you for honoring what God has called you to do. My name is Michele Harper. I am a Black woman, and without apology, I will continue to own my amazing. Kyla.
I love that. Thank you all again for having me. It's always a blessing to be in a space to feel safe enough to tell my story, even when I tell it and people may not understand. If I just touch one person, if one person gets it, if one person doesn't get it, but then it hits them a day later or a week later, I've still done my due diligence. So I'm glad to have this space. And Crystal, thank you for creating this space for us to have conversations like these, to break stigma, to break down stereotypes, and allow ourselves to be vulnerable in these spaces, but also know that that does not define us and that is not all that we are, because your weight that you carry, the weight that you sit in, it does not define you fully. And I am a true testament to that. I am Kyla L. Wright. I am your Miss North America 2024.
Yes.
I am a proud Black woman, a proud native Detroiter, unapologetic Black woman and HBCU alumna, and I am an amazing woman.
Yes, ma'am, you are. You definitely are. Amazing Women Speak. It's sponsored by the Amazing Woman Network, again, which was created to empower and unite Black women globally, focusing on our core pillars of owning our personal power, mind, body, and spirit, owning our financial power, and increasing our social involvement. You can visit us on the web and register to join at amazingwomannetwork.com. You also can find Amazing Women Speak on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Spotify. So whatever your favorite platform, like and or subscribe, turn notifications on so that you never ever miss an episode. Then go back and look at the past episodes. Find those that speak to your soul. You will put them on replay, I promise you. After that, share them with someone that you know. Be a blessing to someone else. Thank you all for joining us this evening. We will see you next time. Peace.